Magandang araw po. Ako po si Clarissa talaga at ngayon po ay ika-25th, ika-25 ng Enero. It's January 25, 2021. It's a Monday. And what I want to share with you at this point in time is the kind of preparation that has helped me, guided me to reach this far, to reach my here and now. So makakatulong po yung ilang prinsipyo na gumabay sa akin. Alam ko po na makakatulong din para sa inyo. Hindi man po pare-pareho ang circumstances natin. May uniqueness ang bawat isa. Kagaya po ng thumbprint natin na unique para sa isang tao. Ganyan din po ang sitwasyon, di ba? But what I'm saying right now, what I wanna share with you is yung prinsipyo po. Like in studying the possibility, for example, ng batas na may kaugnayan sa pagpapractice ko ng profession ko as writer, as video producer, business owner, event organizer, ano-anong mga batas ang pwedeng pang mga kumbaga may kinalaman, like data privacy, halimbawa, BP22, tungkol sa checks, when it comes to the finance. So, ang dami-dami po. In the same way, my attention was also caught by the laws din naman na, kumbaga, nagpahirap, sabihin na natin na outrightly. Talagang, etong batas na to, ang sa tingin ko naman ay protection para sa akin. Dahil sa mga sitwasyon at insidente na aking inireport. So, mahirap po na magsalita ng magsalita, especially for someone like me, na meron akong pangalan sa industriya ng panulat, publishing, and then I will invoke, ignorance, di ba? Parang hindi ka panipaniwala. So, it's better then for me to understand the letters of this law. Alam nyo, nakakatuwa na kagaya po nito. I am referring this time to my research about Republic Act number 10364. It's an act expanding Republic Act number 9208 entitled An Act to Institute Policies to Eliminate Trafficking in Persons, especially women and children, establishing the necessary institutional mechanisms for the protection and support of trafficked persons, providing penalties for its violations and for other purposes. Sa Section 1, ang short title po ay This Act shall be known as the Expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2012. Probably, yung mga makakarinig sa akin, sabihin, bakit mo binabasa yan? Lawyer ka ba? Natanong na rin po ako niyan. At tinanong ko na rin siya sa sarili ko, may karapatan ba ako na malaman at intindihin ito, hindi naman ako lawyer. Ito po yung gazette na ito, ginawa po siya ng ating mga kinatawan sa Kongreso, sa mataas na kapulungan at sa mababang kapulungan. Both houses of Congress, na kailangan mag-agree sila sa common na wordings na ipapasa nila para ang ating Pangulo ay pumirma dito at maging isang ganap na batas ito. Ang House of Congress po and Senate, walang qualification na lawyer lang ang pwede natin maging kinatawan. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? So, pangkaraniwang tao rin, pwedeng kumuha at pwede tayong maghalal ng mga kinatawan natin kung sa paniniwala natin. They reflect our values, meron silang kapasidad na, dinggin kung ano po ang mga batas na tutugma sa panahon, na magpoprotekta sa atin, na aayon kung saan magkakaroon tayo ng progress, di po ba? So they can come from various background. Ang mahalaga po dito is our willingness really to learn and to get to know at those parts na hindi natin maintindihan, pwede naman po tayo magtanong. And with the technology that we have now, even those things that can puzzle us dahil iba yung background natin, pwede tayong magtanong sa mga uh, professional at sa mga nakakaalam. Alam niyo po, before naman po, di ba na ipasa yung batas, usually kumukuha sila ng consultants and resource persons dahil hindi rin nga po sila lawyers at kung halimbawa sa committee na yon ay um, kailangan pa nilang dagdagan or dapat eksakto yung nalalaman nila tungkol sa batas, pwede naman po silang magpag-guide. In the same way, tayo bilang layperson, ordinary na mamamayan, hindi rin abogado, pwede rin tayong magpatulong when it comes dun sa mga bahagi na hindi natin maintindihan. Pero ginawa po kasi siya ng kinatawan natin. So, kung ano man po yung na-produce nila, dahil hindi sila lahat ay abogado, then it should also be applicable for our own layman's understanding. So, hindi po siya pinagbabawal at hindi din siya dinidiscourage. Actually, I find the wordings understandable at kung sa paglalapat na po ng batas, yun na talaga ang kailangan natin talaga ng mas may experience at mga nag-aral ng mga sa batas. But in this case po, like Republic of the Philippines, Congress of the Philippines, Metro Manila, 15th Congress, 3rd Regular Session. So ito po yung mga bill na dinadala sa Pangulo at hindi naman po lahat ng pangulo, hindi lahat na nagiging presidente ng bansa ay abogado. So it means qualified din tayo na intindihin kung ano po yung sinasabi, kumbaga ano yung diwa. Dahil alam niyo sa like sa Filipino, ang dami-dami nating dialect, di ba? Pero mapapansin nyo, the wordings are usually, they use the English language. So that's how proficient an average Filipino is to our second language. So let's begin. Republic Act number 10364. Nasabi ko na yung section 1. The section 2 of the Republic Act number 9208 is hereby amended to read as follows. So, ito na po yun. Section 2, Declaration of Policy. Alam nyo, pag sinabing polisiya, policy, I think kahit na po yung vendor sa palengke, maiintindihan niya. Policy. It is hereby declared that the state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees the respect of individual rights. In pursuit of this policy, the state shall give highest priority to the enactment of measures and development of programs that will promote human dignity, protect the people from any threat of violence and exploitation, eliminate trafficking in persons, and mitigate pressures for involuntary migration and servitude of persons, not only to support trafficked persons, but more importantly, to ensure the recovery, rehabilitation, and reintegration into the mainstream of society. I believe po na merong measures to prevent trafficking in persons at meron din pong tugon ng batas kung sakali man at nahuli na, kumbaga, na-traffic na ang isang tao, merong tugon ng batas kung papaano naman siya tutulungan dahil sa epekto ng pagkakasadlak niyang yun sa sitwasyon na ganon. second paragraph of Section 2, it shall be a state policy to recognize the equal rights and inherent human dignity of women and men as enshrined in the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights, United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, United Nations Convention on the Protection of Migrant Workers and Their Families, United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, including its protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, and all other relevant and universally accepted human rights instruments and other international conventions to which the Philippines is a signatory. So, hindi po maikaila ang component ng batas na ito ay dahil signatory ang Pilipinas, miyembro siya sa mga nagkakaisang bansa kung saan ang crime na ganito ay pinaniniwalaan na hindi lang nangyayari sa isang lugar.
Ang tatay. Hernandez.
Section 3. Section 3 of Republic Act number 9208 is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 3, definition of terms as used in this act. Letter A, trafficking in persons. What does it mean? Ano pang ibig sabihin? Ito ba yung, Metro Manila has been known for various good reasons or positive aspects of Metro Manila, di ba? But it's also, unfortunately, it's also known as the traffic capital here in probably Southeast Asia. Amongst others, kumbaga may various degree ng traffic and kasama palagi sa top 5 ang Metro Manila. Is it the same? Pag sinabi po bang traffic sa kalsada at traffic sa tao, may similarities po ba? Ito po, we're all familiar with the traffic sa kalsada. So, I believe that we should be familiar or get to know what it means when we read something about trafficking in persons. So letter A refers to the recruitment, obtaining, hiring, providing, offering, transportation, transfer, maintaining, harboring, or receipt of persons with or without the victim's consent or knowledge within or across national borders by means of threat or use of force or other forms of coercion, abduction, that's kidnap, fraud, deception, abuse of power or of position, taking advantage of the vulnerability of the person, or the giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person for the purpose of exploitation, which includes at a minimum the exploitation or the prostitution of others or other forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor or services, slavery, servitude, or the removal or sale of organs. Stop. In this day and time, may slavery. Di po ba pag nanonood I'm a movie addict, quote and unquote. So, nanonood tayo ng yung mga period movies wherein the slaves, usually they come from Africa or going back to ancient history, yung mga nasasakop like in a civilization, pag ang isang empire, sinakop niya ang isang, sabihin na natin, ang isang komunidad, mga tao, ng sinaunang tao, usually po nagiging slave. So, kung ilalapat natin sa panahon ngayon, what does it mean to be enslaved? What does it mean for a servitude? Parang ang sabi pa sa Tagalog, it can be comparable to a statement we usually say here in Quezon, sa Katagalugan, nangangamo, may amo, yun, nangangamuan. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, not just a boss, really, but when you're a slave, every part of your life, merong nakakasako. Kung ang ordinary na tao po, na empleyado for example, 8 to 5 ang trabaho niya, what she does in dun sa hours before 8 o'clock and after 5 o'clock, usually sa kanya yon. Kung may overtime, yun, may overtime pay or good sessions, di ba? But in this case, kung sino yung mapapangasawa mo, saan ka titira, paano ka makikitungo sa buong pamilya ng halimbawa ng amo mo, yaan lahat, wala kang magagawa because you're a slave. So, yan po yung kumbaga, the term slave, kung bakit siya ginawa dito, hindi sinabing servitude as employee, slavery or employment. The word slave, it really is what has caught my attention. So second paragraph, the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, adoption, or receipt of a child, ang bata po, pag tinanggap yung bata, for the purpose of exploitation or when the adoption is induced by any form of consideration for exploitative purposes shall also be considered as trafficking in persons, even if it does not involve any of the means set forth in the preceding paragraph. Nagkaroon po kami ng show, Urban Fashion Modeling Search, Kids Edition. So, meron po kaming feature mga candidates ng mga kabataan. So, this is one of those shows that kids, ang age limit namin is 7 to 13 yata. So, and then sa mga commercials, sa movies, they make use of actors who are underage, mga bata. So, sila po ba yun na tinutukoy mga exploitative? Siyempre, hindi po, di ba? So, may mga parents' consent na pinipirmahan. Tapos, pag may, kagaya namin, pag nagkakaroon kami ng rehearsal, kasama yung guardian. Nakikita nila yung buong proseso kung saan merong halimbawa dance instructor na nagtuturo dun sa mga kids sa production number. Like sa commercials, pag pinapa-arte ang bata or halimbawa brand endorsement ng mga gamit, consumer products na pambata, or sa pelikula, the script calls for an actor na kabataan. So, hindi po yan, syempre, hindi yan yung tinutukoy dyan. Pero yung, it's almost as if ibinibenta mo yung bata para mangamuan. Halimbawa, hindi na nalalaman ng regulator, and specifically here in the Philippines, it's the DSWD, hindi nila nalalaman kung paano nako-compensate yung bata. Hindi, kumbaga, paano siya kumakain. Like, every child needs at least, di ba, 7 to 10 hours of sleep or rest. Pag-aaral niya, hindi ba napapabayaan? So, maraming considerations po when you're dealing with kids dahil protektado sila ng ating batas. Ito po, yung mga talagang, for example, hirap na hirap yung buong family. And sometimes the only way they see, to survive day to day is for the young generation. Kumbaga yung mga bata na pagtrabahuhin. So, this happens. This is so unfortunate, but this happens. And maybe they are aware, but these families are aware na mayroong batas para dito kasi hindi naman po nagkulang sa information dissemination, especially ang DSWD palagi siyang nagbibigay ng mga seminars about this. Pero dala po ng pangangailangan, di ba? So pag minsan, we really have to drill it to these families. Ang pwedeng mangyari sa kanila kung i-consider nila na one of the options for their economic status and well-being is for these children to be sold or to be employed like an adult, diba? So yan po yan. So letter B, child. What is a child in this law? Dito sa context na ito, refers to a person below 18 years of age or one who is over 18 but is unable to fully take care of or protect himself, herself from abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, or discrimination because of a physical or mental disability or condition. Yeah. So, ang child po pala, yung 18 years old, yun yung nire-refer dito sa batas na to. Pwedeng over 18 and yet mentally, emotionally, psychologically, hindi pa siya 18 years old. Sabihin na natin medyo late yung development or merong kapansanan, merong learning disability. And so they are additional protection should be given to them. Letter C, prostitution refers to any act, transaction, scheme, or design involving the use of a person by another for sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct in exchange for money, profit, or any other consideration. This is so verbal, and I don't think we need to elaborate and go to the nitty-gritty detail kasi just by watching a movie, somehow, but the movies sometimes reflect our cultural realities, reflect the social realities. So makikita natin. And sometimes, kung baga, ang ordinary na tao, alam niya na bawal, alam niya na masama, pero hindi niya alam kung anong eksaktong batas ang magsasabi at ang nagbabawal dito. So, mga kaibigan, ito po siya. Republic Act number 10364. Alam natin na masama prostitution, child labor, pero hindi natin alam specifically kung ano yung batas na yun. Isa po ito. Kumbaga marami pa kasi maraming batas na sometimes po, di ba, magkakasalansan na sila, layer na, or nagkakaroon sila ng commonality. This is just one of them. I want to go back, okay, to D, forced labor. Ano yung, ito lang po yung general description. Maraming technical, mga technical details that will come after this general description. Forced labor refers to the extraction of work or services from any person by means of enticement, violence, intimidation or threat, use of force or coercion, including deprivation of freedom, abuse of authority or moral ascendancy, debt bondage or deception, including any work or service extracted from any person under the menace of penalty. May nakaambang threat. May moral ascendancy. Pag ang nagsabi po sa atin ay may authority, kumbaga may tinitingala sa sabihin na natin sa social class, sila may class. No, kidding. So, ang ibig sabihin po, yung enticement, di ba? Ako naguguluhan din po. Kumbaga, this begs really an interpretation from a real lawyer. So, like sa enticement. Pag po ba nag-offer sa atin, halimbawa, o dito ka magtrabaho, di ba parang walang force doon, di ba? Dahil niyaya ka niya, so you have your free will to decline. But it says here, enticement. Violence, yes. Kumaga pag puwersa, intimidation or threat. Pag hindi ka nagtrabaho dito, ganito ang mangyayari sa'yo. Yun. Or force or by force or coercion, same thing. Very detailed, no? Including deprivation of freedom, ikukulong, halimbawa, wala kang kalayaan. Ito lang ang gagawin mo. Hindi pwede. You know, what brings to my mind, yung mga scenario nung dati. Like, pag halimbawa meron kaming house help sa bahay. Tapos aalis na siya, nagpaalam na siya sa mother ko while we were small. My mother would, huwag ko na munang umalis, sasabihin niya, makikiusap siya. Ka munang umalis, hahanap muna ako ng kapalit mo. Pwede ba? But always the decision will have to come from the house help, the domestic help. Siya yung magsasabing, sige po, bilang, kumaga hindi naman masama yung pinakitungo niyo sa akin. Maghihintay ako ng 2 weeks, maghanap po kayo ng kapalit ko in 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks time, kailangan ko na pong umalis. So, yun yung mga, but for them na ikulong, or pag ikaw umalis, ito mangyayari sa iyo. Sasampahan kita ng kaso. Yung ganon. Or, saan ka papasok? Sino maniniwala sa iyo pag, pag nagsumbong ka? Katulong ka naman. Ako, di ba? Ako yung amo. Hindi ka nakapag-aral. Ako nag-aral. Or, halimbawa, magtrabaho ka sa akin kasi may utang ang nanay at tatay mo sa akin. May utang na loob ang ninuno mo sa akin, ang nanay at tatay mo. So, hindi siya mababayaran ng pera. Ang makakabayad lang sa kanya, pag nagtrabaho ka, dito ka tumira sa akin at gagawin mo lahat ang pinagagawa ko sa iyo. That's it. These are extremes. Scripts kung tawagin. But sometimes, magugulat ka na lang doon sa mga nagsusumbong sa ating mga, like sa OFW centers, sa police, kay Tulfo. Diba, meron palang ganun. Kumaga, if within our sphere, within, our surroundings, hindi yan nangyayari, but count yourself blessed because these things really happen. And, sabi sa, di ko ba, meron Bible verse, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Because sometimes, when we are so confident of something, lalabas sa atin yung confidence nila. Alam ko yan, nabasa ko yan. Even with that, psychological boost, we can, there and then, we can reason out. We can, when it calls for, we can give our statement, our defense, and we can assert for our rights. Kasi, meron tayo kahit konti na kaalaman, di ba? So, wag natin sayangin yung time kung ano po yung sitwasyon natin, wherever we are. I'm sure, meron palagi na mga kaalaman na makakatulong sa atin. Nandito man tayo sa Philippines or outside working, it pays to be, to have that psychological boost and confidence na may nalalaman tayo. And if it goes, kumbaga, if it boils down to it, at hiningan tayo ng detalye, meron tayong maiisang concrete. So, letter E, slavery, refers to the status or condition of a person over whom any or all of the powers attaching to the right of ownership are exercised. Pagmamay-ari. May nagmamay-ari sa atin na tao. Like, ano po ba yung pagmamayari? Siyempre, physical ownership, emotional ownership, um, itong mga bagay na ito, hindi mo gagawin. It goes beyond the do's and don'ts, the rules, the ordinary rules na, for example, sa isang, halimbawa, sa pabrika may mga stay-in na mga tao. Okay, ito yung curfew, hindi ka na pwede lumabas ng 9 o'clock, lights out. Hindi naman yung ganun na sinasabi. But in slavery, it says here, ito lang ang kakainin mo, ito ang papakisamahan mo, um, you don't have fixed work hours, hindi natin kailangan pag-usapan pag nabago ang rules and regulations and job description mo. You know, the usual, um, kumbaga, privilege na ibinibigay sa atin ng DOLE, the Department of Labor and Employment, it goes beyond that. Like, sino ang dapat mong mapangasawa? Sino ang dapat mong makasama sa araw na ito? Sino ang hindi mo dapat kausapin? Sino ang mga dapat mong kaibigan at hindi mo pwede maging kaibigan? When these things become the rules and regulations surrounding an employment or surrounding the nature of any transaction or deal, that is so over and beyond what the law permits. The same goes through for letter F. Involuntary servitude refers to a condition of enforced and compulsory service induced by means of any scheme, plan, or pattern intended to cause a person to believe that if he or she did not enter into or continue in such condition, he or she or another person would suffer serious harm or other forms of abuse or physical restraint or threat of abuse or harm. I call this blackmail. Pag hindi mo to ginawa, may mangyayari sa anak mo. Pag hindi mo to ginawa, may mangyayari sa manugang mo. Pag hindi mo to ginawa, may mangyayari sa apo mo. Pag hindi mo to sinabi, lagot ka. Or coercion, including depriving access to travel documents and withholding salaries or the abuse of threatened abuse of the legal process. Ididemanda kita. Bakit niyo po ako ididemanda? Kasi ito yung mga ginawa mo. Ito yung mga ano mo. Ayaw mong sabihin to, ayaw mong gawin to, ididemanda kita. Again, as I said, it is, you count yourself fortunate and blessed if these things do not happen to you, but they happen. And so these laws, it doesn't harm us, it doesn't, actually, di ba, a happy worker is a happy place of work. And I will tell you that it's such a confidence builder to know where you stand, to know these things. And not just to know them, but to exert effort, to really, kumbaga, may mga gray areas. Sabi ko nga po, hindi tayo pare-parehong abogado. Exert effort din para, kasi may mga free time tayo, especially with the pandemic. We should use that time to better ourselves, to get to know our options, kasi hindi nyo alam na magagamit nyo yan kung hindi nyo man kinakailangan at this time dahil maganda yung kinaroroonan nyo, maganda yung sitwasyon nyo. You never know kung kailan kakailanganin ang kaalaman na ganyan. Hindi natin, kundi ng ating kapamilya, kaibigan, kasamahan sa trabaho, or someday, pag nagpalit tayo ng trabaho, kakailanganin nyo yung mga kaalaman na ganyan. And so, there are other provisions of this law that I wanna, discuss. So tomorrow, please tune in again. Hello, Philippines. This is yours truly, Clarissa talaga. By the way, this is still a test broadcast because I'm still awaiting for the rest of the support team and the rest of you know, there are some settlements that I am working on the business side of the production, which hopefully will come in the days to come. So this is yours truly for now saying see you tomorrow. Bye.